Hello, I'm Svenza, and I'm one of the course directors of the Modern Teacher Course in the United Kingdom. We prepare people for their task as Waldorf teachers. I'd like to share with you today an assignment by one student on the topic of diversity. The task was to choose their own school where they work, or imagine a school where they might one day work, and conduct an audit that takes into account geographical, historical, and cultural factors that are important to that place, but also to focus on personal factors they might have to take into account in order to provide as much sensitivity to the various diversity factors that are relevant to a place like that. And Louise Baldock, who is one of our first-year students, took a particularly imaginative approach to this, which is what I would like to share with you today. She produced, instead of an essay, a little booklet. It says Diversity Audit on the outside, and when you open it, it says, first let's take a look at what we do have. It's the same principle as looking in your pantry before going to the supermarket. How do you know what to get if you don't first know what you already have and what you're planning on cooking? And as you can see, this little assignment is designed a little bit like a store cupboard. So she's walking us through her pantry in this way. And inside, I'm not going to take you through these kind of things that she's discovered, because if you're in a school, you will find this interesting. I wonder whether your school has ever conducted an audit of this kind before. So, her school is in Alderwasley in Derbyshire, and to begin with, we get an overview of the geographical circumstances here. So where is the school? Where's the elevation? What big areas are there? The village of Alderwasley, what is the population like? What are the things that one needs to consider? And you can see here, for example, that right in the center of England, there's a large proportion that is ethnic white, British. And if we then go further into the store cupboard, we'll open the first shelf. And on that first shelf, there's a question about disability. So is this school disability friendly? Does it use natural lighting? Does it reduce or eliminate background noise? Does it ensure that written information on the boards is clear and easy to read? Are the displays neat and tidy? Is there a learning support assistant, and so on? And one can use this in a simple tick box system and then go to the next shelf. And on this shelf, it looks at the disparity or the mathematical distribution of the different genders. So how many students are male? Of the 123, we have 66% male, 32% female, for example. And the question is here also whether the school uses, for example, materials and resources that reinforce gender stereotypes. Is gender-neutral or sensitive language used in the school? In fictional stories, who are portrayed as the heroes and villains? Are women doing all the caring and men doing all the action? So very pertinent questions that every school, I think, would do very well to ask itself. When it goes to the next shelf, that of sexual orientation, there is a question here about homophobic language, for example. Does one see bullying? Do the lessons include positive examples of members of LGBT+? How diverse are the recommended reading lists that go home to parents? And you can see here there is a lot there that one can learn from and use. On the next shelf, we have race. Now, as you can see in Alderwasley, we have a very large white population here in terms of ethnic origin, and the same applies to the staff. That's what that part of England is like. And here is particularly pertinent to ask questions like, do racial minorities feel welcome and included at the school? If you react to the word race, please forgive the student this. I think ethnic would serve just as much the purpose as the word that she uses here. So are staff trained so they're able to deal effectively with racist incidents? Very important aspect of the audit. We go on, deeper into the cupboard. the social class of the students on the left, of the staff on the right? Do students wear school uniforms, fostering a sense of equality and community? Do students have opportunities to make meaningful choices and reflect on those choices afterwards? So, in your school, what importance does the concept of class actually have, if any? What about religion? What is the background in the families of the students and of the staff? In this case, for example, among the staff, 50-50 between Christian on the one hand and non-religious or other religions on the other hand. And how does it reflect it in the classroom? So, do you ever make assumptions based off somebody's religion? Does the school set out time for collective worship? Does the school ever ask the wider school community if they think of the school as inclusive? Next shelf. And now we come to Louise's very honestly expressed own biases. And this is really interesting. And this is, of course, where it gets tender and intimate. So she has been very open here with looking at her own unconscious assumptions about Asians, for example, teen parents, fat people, working class people, non-native English speakers, men. I'm just going to read the last one here. Men tend to be, as an unconscious bias revelation, lacking in emotional depth and conversational skills, lack awareness of boundaries, and will impose their views on you while telling you why you, a female, are wrong. Now, this is reflective of Louise's experiences and therefore causes her to have a bias to that particular group of human beings. Now, through this internal audit, she has made herself aware of this, which means that she can now include that in the judgments she makes when she prepares her lessons and teaches her lessons. And now, finally, having got to the end of the stock take or the audit, now what we have is this. She knows this about her place and about herself. For example, the place she describes, the school, is accommodating and inclusive of neurodiversity and those with special educational needs. And now she can draw up a diversity shopping list, being equipped with the things that are already there in the cupboard. The shopping list, for example, says we could try to use inclusive language, such as everybody, class, humans, your grown-ups instead of your parents. We could tell stories from different perspectives and not just from the viewpoint of white European males, and so on. So the next step is to use that to bring our awareness to what we don't have and consider what actions we need to take to ensure that we aren't unintentionally excluding anybody. So this is the shopping list, and this is the stock take. And I hope you found this useful. Now, you may not have the time or talent as our dear student Louise had to create such a neat work of art to express this, but I thought this of sufficient quality to inspire you with the idea of doing one of these audits with your school where you work. I hope you've enjoyed this little presentation, and we are the Modern Teacher, modernteacher.org, and we'd love to hear from you if you're interested in one of our courses. Thank you very much, and goodbye.